guys, welcome back.
To the
Are we back?
GSL up and down matches.
Yeah, I think we are back.
Yeah, I think we're back. I'm like, I got back one game ago, and here are our results. I feel like I can't hear myself.
Yeah, my audio is shaky today. I don't know what exactly happened, but suddenly it's a little bit weird. It's better than earlier when I started to cast with Stella. We couldn't hear anything. We couldn't hear the production team because apparently one of the things that they used was turned off. But well, now we have our current standings. As you can see here, we have each player has one game so far. We're heading into the next one. Bomber is facing Puzzle on Antigua Shipyard with a PVT.
Yep. We're just going to potentially jump right into it here, I think. I'm hoping you guys can hear us.
Yeah, they can.
Ah, okay.
Yep.
I see that. Yeah, I went down and tested the volume and it's turned all the way up. I'm like, I hope it doesn't suddenly go back to normal and kill my eardrums. I become the first deaf StarCraft caster.
It's kind of only the our voices, the sound and the music I can hear fine. But well, here they are, our two players. I talked to Bomber a little bit earlier. He's pretty confident today. He lost the first map, but he is confident that he will be able to get back into Code S. And we are about to start the first game. Antigua Shipyard, Bomber against Puzzle. Terran versus Protoss here at the GSL. Up and downs with Caldon Wolf. To the left of the map, in the orange, we now have our Terran player starting for the StarTale team. He's down a map in the up and downs. It is
StarTale Bomber.
Well, has to be a little bit careful here. He faced his teammate earlier and was not able to succeed with this double barracks opening, but now he's up against the Slayers player, and of course for Puzzle already a very, very tense situation. Starting to the right side of the map in teal. He has to win this game if he wants to
Slayers Puzzle.
I don't want to stand if he wants to stand a chance, because even if he loses, he still has a chance to succeed and to advance, but it's going to be very tough.
Much less.
Yeah.
I feel here the better player in this matchup is going to be Bomber. Again, I feel Puzzle's PBT has been so far really unimpressive to me. And Bomber, though, his strengths oftentimes lie in kind of like a combo that he gets. When he wins the game before, he does better the second game, and it kind of was like a chain reaction. But in this case, he's down a game. It wasn't a very serious game, though. I mean, he did a 2 racks, got shut down. Not a too big of a loss. Like, he's probably thinking, all right, well, I thought this was about a 50-50 anyways. You can see they have played against each other. The last time was in GSL October's round of 32 of Code S. Do see Puzzle going ahead and dropping his core. The question is, will he do that same double gas robo expand like we saw him do last game? He's seeing everything of Bomber. In fact, he's able to get out with his probe. Very quick probe scout there.
I actually checked the match history for Bomber and tried to find out how good he currently is against Terran and against Protoss. And he was able to win a few games in the KSL, but most of the games that are from a few weeks ago, and he did not do too well. On the other hand, I was able to observe his games against Naniwa when Naniwa was preparing for his match against MVP, and Bomber looked so strong in these games, especially in the matches on Antigua Shipyard. Bomber had a couple of really interesting strategies, sometimes even using cloaked banshees in the mid-game just to harass a mineral line, and surprisingly enough, this turned out to be really a game-deciding factor. So it's a bit unusual, and we might not see it here, but it's something that he did in the past, some of the games, and he might try to use it again. Even though I really have to say that I completely agree with you that Bomber is, in my opinion, also the favorite in this matchup. But Puzzle, he is fighting for his Code S spot here. He's down a game, as is Bomber. For both of them, this match is really important.
Yeah, I think, well, look at this, Kelder. Bomber adding 3 barracks. He's going to be doing 4 barracks follow-up here. Very old school. This was really popular about 6 months ago to 8 months ago. Now it's kind of fallen off a little bit, but the SCV will not see the Nexus and will not see anything else additionally here. So that's very unfortunate for Bomber. But he'll be able to check very soon what's going on. And I think we're going to see Puzzle drop down that Robo very, very soon as he makes another sentry. He's now moving across with his Stalker. He has control of the Watchtower. He's trying to catch the Marines that may be lurking in the south or any additional SCV scouts. Wants to make sure that his Nexus is not spotted. And Puzzle actually adding 2 additional gates here. You can see his gas banking up quite heavily, which does indicate he may do a 3-gate sentry push here because he's got to use that extra gas for something.
We don't have a bunker at this time for Bomber. He has a lot of Marine production, so he doesn't necessarily need one at this point. Engineering Bay also coming up.
Very quick eBay.
And this is a lot of Marines. He's still producing 4 Marines at a time. He's completely focusing on minerals here. He's not even getting gas.
Yeah, this is going to be a scary push for Puzzle to hold. If he had gone for that Robo build we saw him do last game, and this may be something Bomber is banking on a little bit.
I'm a little bit surprised. Why the eBay?
I think just for turrets, and there's the first turret going down, just to be prepared for potential Dark Templar, because he did see
Well, he
double
didn't see
gas.
the expansion.
Yeah, he didn't see the expansion, he saw double gas, and even if you see the expansion of a double gas, the DT possibility is always there. And with the amount of minerals he's spending on these Marines and powering up right now, he needs all the minerals he can get, or, you know, so basically he doesn't want to use scans. He doesn't want to save mules just to be safe. He wants to just go ahead and make that turret, which I can respect. Now, this is going to be Puzzle's first look at how many Marines Bomber has, and it's going to not induce panic, but he's going to really have to start getting his wits about him here. He's going to need to set up good force fields to hold off the pressure if it does continue.
Bomber has a lot of Marines. He has 22 in total, and this is definitely a little bit scary for Puzzle, as we have now double bunker going up. So even with some gateway aggression, there's no chance that Puzzle can do enough damage.
I'm surprised Bomber didn't decide to commit to that, and potentially even a little bit earlier. He's very defensive in this game.
But the problem that you always have if you try to commit with this army is that as soon as you walk up the ramp, you don't know what's on top of the ramp. You have to scan ahead. Then if there are sentries, you might get force fielded. So committing to this and to this kind of attack is something that you, in my opinion, should not really do. But at least control the center of the map. That was definitely an option for him.
Well, yeah, I mean, with what he's done here, he's powered up 4 barracks. That delays his tech so much. Like, oh my god. And now he just has like a bunch of Marines defensively that aren't going to accomplish anything against the type of build that he's seeing here from Puzzle. Puzzle, by the way, double forging right now, as well as getting his Twilight Council up.
I could kind of picture that Bomber thought process at this point was that he does not want to die against any time of a gateway aggression, because this is one of the builds that he practiced with Naniwa, and he had a lot of problem with early gateway aggression as soon as the Protoss player really committed to it. And I think that he expected Puzzle to attack here, therefore powered up on Marines, got the 2 bunkers, and now, we might be able to catch the Observer here.
Something I just noticed a few seconds ago, I don't know if you caught this, did he actually just make his missile turret 90% of the way in case of DT so he could just like finish it and then cancel it and got most of his money back? Is that what just happened? Like, I think that's what just happened, which is actually really cool. If so, this is also really interesting. He's going for an eBay block at the 3rd. With this many units out for Puzzle, though, it's not going to be too big of an annoyance. It will be kind of frustrating, though.
That is especially annoying when you do it at the natural. Protoss players hate that. I talked with quite a few about them.
Yeah.
They were like, oh my god,
I
as
hate
a
that.
Zerg you have at least your Zerglings out, but I only have 1 Stalker and it takes ages to kill an eBay.
Yeah, that is so annoying when that occurs, man.
Yeah, and you're right, he cancelled the missile turret.
Yeah, that was really cool, because I guess, I mean, if a DT comes in, you just send 1 SCV over there that's really close to the mineral line, and then you just finish it. But if no DTs come, you're like, well, I get this money back. So that was really unique. What's finishing up here for Puzzle? His range for his Colossi are on the way, and his starport for Bomber getting in here to pretty good timing. I'm wondering what we're going to see next from Puzzle. Bomber did not cancel his eBay. It's actually just sitting fully made at the 3rd base. So it's going to let him know whether or not his opponent's attacking.
I like it. He scans ahead, he scans his opponent's main base, he sees the Robo, and at the same time he decides to get a 2nd starport. Because his tech got so delayed, he doesn't have any Medivacs at this point. He realizes that if he wants Medivacs and Vikings, he can't really decide between the 2 of them. He needs both. So he throws down a 2nd starport, and this enables him to get both buildings, both unit types. I really like this, and that's definitely necessary. If he wouldn't have gone for this, he might have faced his opponent's army either without the Vikings or the Medivacs.
Yeah, you would have had to make the choice between one or the other. And at this point, Puzzle actually going to go ahead and check to see if his 3rd is blocked. He will find that it is, in fact, blocked by an engineering bay. Now, Bomber actually moving forward while some of these units are split up killing the eBay, may be able to pick off the Colossus if he commits. I don't think he'll be brave enough to do that, though.
And not into the choke point that we have here.
Combat shield's not quite done yet.
And the sentries.
He forces a stim on some of the units at the back. Nicely done by Bomber. Creating a concave, preparing to fight. I don't like this though. He should not fight. He does decide to turn around. He's going to have to stim again though.
He has to be really, really careful here. Where are the Vikings? He doesn't have too many, just get only 1-2 finish. Or going to finish very soon, but retreating.
I think he's going to die, man.
He's losing so much energy, hit points on those.
Remember, the units of Puzzle are 1-1 versus just +1 attack for Bomber. He's just pure Stalker. Colossus upping some force fields here, and Bomber in a lot of trouble. Look at how his units struggle to move forward. Puzzle is just crushing him now.
He's pulling the SCVs, and here come the two Colossi doing a major amount of damage. Not enough Vikings. Finally, one of the Colossi crumbles, but Bomber is already down to 65. So Fly, whereas Puzzle warps in another round of Stalkers that join the battle immediately.
GG.
And there's GG as Puzzle completely overwhelms Bomber.
Great scouting information by Puzzle, seeing the very late tech, just going straight into Colossi, saying exactly what you said, Calvary. You can either have Medivacs or you can have Vikings. And he didn't even have combat shields during the battle. He had to stim to retreat. Moving out there, I feel, from Bomber it was cool when he had the watchtower, and I thought he would just run away when he saw the army move, but it was almost as if he planned on trying to do something when the eBay was killed. And, I mean, that kind of makes sense for why he would have the eBay there, because like I said, the eBay doesn't block that much when you have that much army out, so maybe he was like, alright, he's going to split a big chunk of his army for this eBay, that I'm going to maybe attack him. He was indecisive there for a second. Puzzle killed some of his units, so Bomber wasn't able to efficiently slow down the push to get his Vikings out like he would have normally been able to do. And I don't like the opening from Bomber to go 4 racks and then not to pressure at all. Like you said, if you go and you have like 22 Marines and he has sentries up there, then it doesn't work. But if you go a little bit earlier, you can kind of rally behind and do more with it. If he's not going to be aggressive, why go 4 barracks? That's the question.
I really think that he expected a push from Puzzle here.
It must have been. I mean, that's the only other thing that makes sense. He made the bunkers even. So he was a little bit unclear about what his opponent was doing. He made the fast eBay to get the turret up, which he did end up canceling, which was cool. He also didn't see the Nexus, so for him to be defensive there, in the end, it makes sense. Could have been a Void Rail in for all he knows, so a weird opening, though, and I think the opening was kind of what led to his demise in the end. And his over-aggression in the center of the map during the mid-game there was a little bit... Yeah.
Well, the next game that we have is Curious against Finn, so we have another Zerg versus Terran. StarTale player number 2 is going to play in just a few seconds, but first we are going to have a quick look at the replay.
This is a scan here. This is basically from Bomber's point of view. Jack sees the Robo, and you know, at this point he decides to be defensive. Why? After seeing the Robo, it's unless so, like, why is he expecting a Warp Prism drop? Like, why is he? This is really weird, man.
It must have been his expectation that it's going to be a Warp Prism. As we mentioned in the game, he did not really know about the expansion of his opponent, so he just missed it, and therefore he kind of assumed that there's a one-base play. The positioning of his Marines, also the SCV, kind of suggests that he's waiting for a Warp Prism.
It could be just like he's like, all right, I also might want to catch the Observer that I know is coming, but he missed the Observer as well. It sneaked around the back. Now we'll go into the natural expansion, so...
He just misread the situation. I think he wanted to be a little bit more aggressive here, but he misread what exactly was happening, and, well, Puzzle, therefore, way ahead of him.
Yeah, Puzzle saw everything with the Observer, and he continues to do so now. He had all the information in the world. And when you have that, I mean, how can you lose? You're one step ahead of your opponent. It's really, really easy to do what you want. And you can see Bomber over there with the StarTale coach. There is, of course, Puzzle and Sella from Slayers on their opposite team benches. Speaking of which, GSTL is starting again soon. I'm sure you guys have seen the VCRs on that.
Yep.
I'm pretty excited.
GSTL is going to be great, especially with Team Liquid and Fnatic participating, so we have kind of 2 foreign teams here.
Yeah.
It's going to be really interesting.
Have the TL players been coming into the house? Have they arrived yet?
They have their own. They have their own apartment.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. That's really cool.
I think Jinro, Huck, TLO, and Hero are living in one apartment right now.
Well, that's really cool to have that team united in one roof. When they were partnering with OGS, they had that to some extent, but now it's just basically Liquid players only, and that's actually really cool to hear.
One of the things that we have coming up now, as I already mentioned, we have Zerg versus Terran, and the thing for Finn is that he is, statistically speaking, really bad against Zerg. It's his weakest matchup by far. He only has 11 games, 11 competitive games played, which is obviously a really small sample size. So, but still, he has won only 3 of them, which is not a lot. Now he's facing
less than 50%. That's pretty bad.
That's 27%. Yeah. So now he's facing Curious on Ohana.
Now, Finn is known for his timing attacks in StarCraft 1 and in StarCraft 2. And in StarCraft 2, his timing attacks against Zerg have been a bit shaky. In fact, most of the losses I recall seeing with him facing a Zerg are some sort of either 2-racks pressure or a Marine tank pressure off of 2 bases with no stim. Like some crazy builds like that where he's like trying to get siege tanks up really fast and hit without stim and trying to split his Marines against Banelings, but it just hasn't worked quite well enough for him yet.
He faced pretty strong Zerg opponents so far. He faced Lucky 3 times. He lost every single game against Lucky. He faced Seal, also was not able to defeat him. And it was pretty harsh on him. So now we have him against Curious, the StarTale player who lately has a bit of a problem against Terran. And, well, we'll find out. He was able to defeat a couple players like, for example, Scalp. Well, actually, talking about the KSL, his performance was really, really good. He was able to take down Scalp and Jakji. But there's a huge difference between a league like the KSL and the GSL. You have the online tournament where you are in your home environment and you feel really, really comfortable.
Yeah.
And now you are suddenly playing in the studio, you're in the booth. It's a completely different setup, and suddenly you have the camera right at you. So you have to be a little bit more careful, and we'll find out. We'll find out what he's going to do here.
Be really interesting match to watch. I'm starting over my words today. Calder, the map is Ohana. Curious against Finn here at the GSL Up and Down matches.